Am I correct in guessing that you might have a similar defense here?
Some things are best left secret, I'm thinking.
Come on, tell me.
Do you think the orcs will follow us here to Nordenbad?
Escaping on eagles like we did will throw them off the trail a bit, but it won't be long before they realize it was a group of dwarves that hit them first, and that'll get them thinking about us here. It's not like they're not thinking about Nordenbad anyway, but I'll let Corin tell you more about that.
What can you tell me about your lord?
Gorin's a great leader. He'd have to be to hold Nordenbad together for so long, surrounded by enemies and starved for basic necessities as we are. There's not a dwarf here who wouldn't lay down his life for him.
We would be pleased to speak with Lord Gorin.
Just make your way past the doors you see yonder and you'll find him within. The guards have been instructed to let you pass.
I suspect I'm the first man to see the inside of these halls.
I am certain I am the first elf to do so.
I want to see what's down here. Absolutely nothing. There's Belleron.
Who would have guessed that such a place still existed in these mountains?
You should not keep the lord of these halls waiting.
I'll do what I want.
Here, sire, are those I spoke of. Allow me to present a kinsman, Farin of Erebor, and also Andriel and Eradan, his companions. We succeeded in our task, and I live to tell of it, thanks only to their aid.
You are most welcome here, kinsman, and no less so your companions, be they man, elf, or eagle. Welcome all to Nordenbad, last hall of the Longbeards in the Grey Mountains. You have returned to me, my son and my oldest friend, whom already I mourned as lost. For this, you will forever have my gratitude and the hospitality of these halls. Know that this is not something lightly given, for never before have we allowed any but our own folk to pass these gates. And no eyes have gazed upon the hidden lake of Azanzaram, save those of our close kindred. Yet for what you have done, I will gladly lay aside our ancient oath of secrecy.
I wish the movie showed more of the dwarves. But I guess they weren't a big part of the story.
You are Longbeards. Then you are of Durin's folk, and close kin to Farin.
Aye. In centuries past, most of our kin called these mountains home. But then the dragons came from the far north. One by one, our halls were lost or abandoned. All but Nordenbad. We alone endured those dark times. And thanks to you, we may hope to endure our current troubles as well.
What can you tell me of your home?
My great-great-grandsire was the first to enter the caves of this mountain, where he discovered the hidden lake we call Azanzaram. He was awed by its beauty, and led some of his kin here. Slowly, over many long years, with loving hands and careful chisels, we created the halls you see before you. Nordenbad was never rich in gold or jewels, but its beauty would move even the most cold-hearted dwarf. That is why we have remained here for so long. There is not a dwarf among us who would not choose death for exile from our home.
It is beautiful. I am honored to behold it.
May I ask how it was you happened to be in so unlikely a place as Mount Gundabad? One does not go lightly into so foul a pit.
We were seeking a servant of the enemy, a man known as Agandar.
Agandal. We are familiar with that one. Curse his Blackheart.
He appeared before our gates some weeks past and called us to parley in the name of Sauron the Great, so he said.
A parley? What did he ask of you?
He demanded that we yield ourselves up to the mercy of Sauron, as if there was any mercy in the Dark Lord.
He lays claim to Nordenbad, telling us if we turn over our halls and riches without a fight, our lives will be spared, and we will be free to seek a new home elsewhere.
Of course, we would have nothing of that. When we defied him, he grew wrathful, threatening us with the fiery doom that overtook our ancestors.
Fiery doom? What did he mean by that?
I fear he may have allied himself with the dragon Orgast, who dwells in these parts. With such a beast at his command, we would have little hope of resisting him.
Great.
A dragon? But I thought the world had seen the last of dragons after Bard the Bowman slew Smaug.
Alas, no. There are dragons still to be found in these mountains, and yet more dwell on the wastes beyond. They may not be as great or wicked as was Smaug, but they are large and evil enough. Make no mistake about that.
But could even Agandaur command the allegiance of such a creature?
Perhaps not on his own account, but if he speaks for the Dark Lord, even Orgast would think twice before offending him.
Nah. Dragons are wicked creatures, and their greed knows no bounds. Agandaur only has to name the right price.
Then would it not be best to destroy this dragon before it can be used?
Well, destroy Orgast? If only it were that simple. The attack on Gundabad would be a peaceful stroll around the lake in comparison. Nay, if it were so easy to slay dragons, there would be many more dwarves still dwelling in these mountains.
Orgast has never taken notice of us before. We rather hoped it would stay that way.
They say it does not pay to leave a live dragon out of your calculations if you live near one.
And we cannot allow Agandaur to gain such a powerful ally.
Agreed. Where can we find Urgast?
You do not lack for courage, I will grant you. Yet we know not where the dragon dwells. No dwarf has discovered his lair and lived to tell of it.
Perhaps Radagast knows this secret, or can discover it. Seems there is little that happens in Wilderland that escapes his notice.
Radagast.
Who is Radagast?
Radagast the Brown. He is a wizard, a man.
He dwells within the forest of Mirkwood, away to the south. Perhaps your companion Belaram would know where to find him, for it is said that Radagast is a friend to the Lord of Eagles himself.
Much as I'd like to avoid Mirkwood, seems like it'd be worth our time to speak to this wizard.
Indeed. But before you set out, please accept a token of our gratitude. Seek out my steward Galar. I've instructed him to open our vaults to you. I believe you may find something within that will be of service in the days ahead.
Okay, here we go again.
I still can't believe I'm alive. I thought I would draw my last breath in the fetid air of Mount Gundabad. Mind you, I'm not complaining.
Tell me about Goran, your father. Is he a king?
King? Oh, no. He is merely the Lord of Nordenbad. We acknowledge Dane Ironfoot as the rightful king of the Longbeards. Not that he has any idea of our existence.
Someday you may be Lord of Nordenbad. Will you seek a reunion with your sundered kin when that day comes?
Secrecy has always preserved us here before, but it can't do so for much longer. We are a dwindling folk, and this war has only made that worse. Nordenbad is precious, but I see little point in leaving it empty. If we survive the days ahead, we will seek out our kin. My father sees the need for this as well. Were it not so, I wouldn't have dared bring you and your friends to our hidden halls.
Tell me about Bruni, the other dwarf who survived Mount Gundabad.
Bruni is the captain of our guard, the terror to the orcs of these mountains. He's been my father's best friend since long before I was born, and he taught me how to wield an axe, and what it means to serve.